Good morning. Today is the 22nd of July 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan for today, look at some levels, but before we start let's just take a look and see what news could move the market today. Today is Monday the 22nd, so we've got a little bit of news coming at 8:30. We didn't see much movement there and nothing much today. This week no major news until Thursday 8:30 and Friday 8:30, so let's crack on with some levels today. Let's go to ES. We are looking at the 1 hour time frame. No, not that's the daily 1 hour time frame, and you can see this great break from last week. We were watching that area. Hopefully you took a trade on that. Okay, so levels today pretty much coming back into the area we've been watching last week. We've got this big area which was originally demand, this area here, based on these pivots, and then we broke above it, we bounced from it then, so what was the ceiling became the floor, it continued staying the floor, and now it's become the ceiling as it broke down. It's coming back into that area. So potentially we're in a bit of a rejection area right now, area of supply. So we could look for a high risk rejection. Area I do quite like is this area here. If we break above it, we can look for a long into this area. Or we've got a little bit of volume to the left, not too much, but it is an area we've watched and broken out from. Came back down, came back, retested it, lost it, retested it, and then lost it again. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get to that area. So if we break over, so 5600 psychological number, but we've got a few pivots above that. So between 5600 and 5604, approximately that area, we can watch this entire area for either a rejection where the market will come in, reject that area, or we can watch for the break and retest over that area. So that's what I'm watching. 5600 is a key level today for me. Bounce wise, I quite like the bounce down at Friday's low, 55.40. However, if we lose that area and we continue this downtrend, we've got this major bounce area down here at 5500, which is a psychological number as well. And you can see we held that level for a bit, we came back, we retested it again there, and we've yet to come in to retest it. So I'm watching that area for a bounce as well, and if we do, this is probably not today but maybe this week, we'll just get back into that. And if we do come back down and we lose it, we've got not much volume below, so we can watch for a short. So let's just change my pen for a second. There we go. So it won't fade away. So this is the area I'm watching. Another key area I'm watching this week for a bounce, 55.50, and I'm watching 5600. Sorry, 5500, 5600. These are two areas, key areas for me. Break above that area, I'm looking for a long. Break below that area, I'm looking for a short. And then more recent. See if there's any other levels we can watch. We can also watch around this area for a bounce. We bounced already at the end of Friday. In fact, that was post-market, pre-market. 55, 57. And that's basically on that area of demand. And, you know, I think we have probably lower volume coming into the holiday season. So I still quite like the bounce down here. And we can watch for the bounce there. But my key area 5600, where we're closer to, I'm looking for a break and retest long. And I will consider a rejection as well, but I will keep an eye on that and keep it as risk free as possible. So if I do get a bit of a rejection, then I'll probably just try and trail my stock down. And same if I break above it, because we're kind of in that in between. We're on a daily uptrend still, but we're in an hourly downtrend, so we're kind of in between trends. Let's look at it on the daily, look at some volume. So we've got high volume coming in, as you can see over the last few days. Usually that signifies the end of a trend. Key area 5500, we were just talking about there. If we break that, then we've got the 50 moving average, and then we've got the 200 moving average. If we can hold it, we can look for a bounce. Maybe we can continue to trend up. We are still in an uptrend. You can see higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We've not put in a higher low yet. We're still there. So it depends what today happens. We could put in a pivot and put in a higher high and then continue to trend up. So we are in a key area. This area we talked about before. We've got another key area just below as well. 5500 is the key area and 5600 are the two key areas. So watch them and that should determine the rest of the week's move. Back to the hourly. Let's look at SPY next. SPY. Okay, just a bit clearer this level here. 553, 77 to 556. Break above, we can watch for longs. So we'll be closing hopefully above the 50 moving average line. If we're above the 50, that'll be another confirmation as well. And the 50 is this red line. That's the 50 moving average. And we can target potentially this region here, or the 200 moving average, which is the purple line. So that's it. So I'm watching this area here for a break and retest long at 554. Bounce wise, do quite like this pre-market low for a bounce 550, maybe 550.50, or if we lose that 547, probably 548. Areas we were on watch from last week. You can see the areas held pretty well. So these levels are still quite key. Maybe we can make an adjustment to this one now. Bring it down to the low because that's where we came to on Friday. So basically these are the levels I'm watching. That's 553 level. Where did that come from? Where it came from, we rejected it, but I'm not a big fan of that. Get rid of that. So 553, 554, break and retest long. We can also watch out for a rejection. A bounce down at 547, 94, 548 area for a bounce. And higher risk plays at the pre-market low for a bounce. One thing we could be looking at as well is if this could be, if we come back down into this region, we could be looking at this inverse head and shoulders pattern. This inverse head and shoulders pattern with the neckline at 553, 554. So potentially watch for a break and retest of that. So if this pulls back a bit and we do that today, we can watch for the break and retest of this head and shoulders pattern. Okay, that's it really for SPY, SPX. We're right down at the key area on SPX. We touched it last week a couple of times, 5500. In fact, we held it actually on Friday. So that's our key area. So if we're looking for longs, then we have to be above this area. If we're looking for shorts, we've got to be below that area. So that's our key area. See where we open. We're going to open a bit higher today, I think, because we gapped up a little bit. So watching 555 for the bounce, and that was Friday's high, and I'll take it on ES. So going back to ES, sorry, Friday's low. So this is the area to watch for a bounce, what we just discussed, between 550, 542, and that's only if ES comes, only if SPX also comes into that region for a bounce. And then if SPX loses this key area, 550, 5500, then our next area we can watch is this point of control. You can see where the volume's been recently. That area here as well, we can watch out for a bounce, which is 554.50 to 54.60. This area we've got the point of control. See lots of volume as well, so we can watch for a bounce down in that area. Next up is NQ. Again, like SPY and ES, we can watch for its potential inverse and shoulders. Depends whether you could say that's a lopsided neckline there and we've broken it, because you can see we broke it, came back, retested and hit off. Or we can use this region here as a neckline, and we've yet to put in the right shoulder. Either way, the key area is going to be 20,000 down to 19,950. So this region here, I'm going to mark that off, and if we can break over 19,975, look for the break and retest long, and then we'll target. We can target this region here as well, 20,100, 20,200, all the way up to 20,300. If we see weakness and NQ loses this key area, you can see we've held it there, we held it there, we couldn't quite get back down into it on this big rally up. Then we held it again last week, and then we broke it and then bounced from it as well. So this is a key area to watch. Notice the lack of volume as well on the volume profile. So if we lose this area, we can look for a potential break, retest, short, and the next area we've got will be this region where there's a volume shelf. So that's potentially our target area, 19,200, 19,300. So I'll be watching for a break and retest of this area, and I am going to put in an alert. So on TradingView, hold down the Control and Alt button. You can place your alert anywhere on the screen instead of using it on the side. So that's my alert in place. And then obviously if we break pre-market high, I'm going to say the highs from Friday, was that post-market? No, pre-market Friday. If we break that area, break it, retest and look for a long, basically over 20,000. QQQ. Similar story, we're watching this area here for a bounce. That's set 474.20. If we lose that area, again, notice the lack of volume over here on the volume profile. We've got this big void below. And we can watch potentially 465 to 464 for a bounce. So that's the key area to watch for a bounce. If I zoom in a bit, that's better, zoom in, that's better. If we can get over, a bit of confluence there, if we can get over this point of control, if we can get over 482 to 483, we can watch for the break and retest long. And then we've got this rejection area on the daily level as well, this yellow line at 490. We can watch this area for potential rejection back down. And that's it for QQQ. Crude oil has been playing this range for the last few weeks. Top of the range, bottom of the range, top of the range, bottom, top. Tried to break out, lost it. Tried again, lost it. Held it down, and now it's broken down through it. Let's look at levels. It's a tough area to find a decent level where there's lots of touches. Probably where it's bounced already. This region for a bounce, and I say region, it's because we've got lack of volume here. We've got tops of candles there, bottoms of candles here, tops of candles there, a few tops over here as well, tops of candles, and then nothing. So that's our next area we can watch for a bounce. 77.50, 52, 77.50, that area there for a bounce. It could also be a break and retest off this trend line, coming in to retest it and then lose it, or like we've seen above, had a fake breakout, came back in, maybe we're looking for a fake breakdown and come back in again. But it's this region we're watching for a bounce. And rejection wise, probably as we discussed, if we can get up into this top of the range, maybe yesterday's high, Friday's high, we can watch for a rejection in that region, and that's around 80.23 to 81. That's the region to watch. Gold has put in this head and shoulders pattern, not the finest of patterns, but we've got left shoulder, head, little right shoulder, and we've got the neckline. So I quite like the break and retest of 2397, 2400 psychological number. We held this 24,000. We held it there, we rejected 2400, we rejected again 2400, and then we finally broke out really strong, came back, retested 2400, retested 2400, and it's finally broken back down through it. So we may have missed it in the pre-market, but we can watch 2400 for the break and retest short with a possible target probably down here where the demand starts again, this region 23.59, and then we've got a lot of volume down here at 23.40. this area. You can see it with the point of control. You can see the volume there. That's our first potential target, this region here, but we've got all this volume to the left, and we can see all this volume all around that area. So that's potentially where we could target if we go short, or we can watch that area for a bounce. If we don't put in this head and shoulders pattern and it doesn't break down, then we can watch for a break over, I would say pre-market high, but we're coming up into resistance as well. You can watch for a scalp above that. It would be against the current hourly trend as well, but we are in a daily uptrend still. Let's go to daily. You can see that quite clearly, and looking pretty bullish on the daily. You could say we've got this pattern setting up like a cup and handle pattern. You can clearly see the curvature there, and we can see the flag setting up there as well. So we could watch for the breakout over there, or if we break down, we've got these clear tops defined. Let's put in some daily levels as well. That level there, let's make that daily. So this is a key area. You know, it's not set in stone area. It's kind of like a region. But we watch that area for the bounce if we do break down. And I like that because we've got lots of pivots, lots of touches, basically tops, tops, tops. So we broke out and we retested that area as well. So it's quite an important area. So this area here, we can watch this area for a bounce if we come back down into that area. Otherwise, we've got this kind of pattern forming, and we're going to get extended and see what happens. Either we're going to break out or break down, or we're just going to go sideways for a while. It does remind me a little bit of Bitcoin, which I'll go to in a second. So RTY, back to the hourly. Okay, we put the fibs in, almost got down to the 50%, hasn't quite got there. The fib starts from when this move started to when the move ended, this big uptrend. Places of interest, potentially that area there for a break and retest long, and that would be Friday's high, which is 22.20 I meant. Otherwise, if we lose this area, we got a bounce at the 50%, and we got a bounce at the 618%, and then we've not got much volume, so that's the only, and we've got no levels in these areas as well, so that's the reason I'm watching those areas. It does coincide with previous pivots as well, so the 50% is the most likely bounce area at 21.85, and then the 618, 21.55 is some pivots as well, but not as obvious as the 50%. That's all I'm watching on there. YM, which is the Dow Jones, we broke out, we came back and we're retesting this pivot again now, this region. I know it's not exact, but you know, that's the region we've been watching, and we're kind of there for the break and retest, a little bit below it. We are a bit below it there, but potentially we've got a breakout. So if let's just zoom in, if we can get above pre-market high, I quite like the long on this. In fact, the break and retest a pre-market long. Even better if we can get it above Friday's high and above this 50 moving average, this red line. Excuse me. So that's the region we can watch for a break and retest long to continue this big uptrend. And then finally, Bitcoin. I said RTY looked a bit like Bitcoin. Let's go to the daily, and again look at this. So we've got this flag pattern, and we've been running between the channels. Let's just draw it in. So we've got this flag pattern playing the channel, and I've added a few times in this channel, but it does look like a cup and handle pattern again, like RTY. Maybe it's looking like it might want to break out at some point. So let's keep an eye on the break above these pivots. So for example, we've got not quite all-time highs, we've got, oh, let's go to rectangle, here we go. So we've got the breakout over there, could potentially break this this little flag pattern. And potentially the break and retest of the pattern here as well. We can watch for a break and retest. I added some there. I recently added some up there as well. So my most recent average position is probably about there. Not much. I don't have a massive amounts, but I like to participate in Bitcoin. And it's looking pretty bullish still. Really bullish if you look at the pattern. Okay, that's it. Let's quickly look at some order flow on ES. I'm flicking over to my order flow screen. Back to the hourly. So just to recap the levels, watching for a break and retest over 5600 or a rejection, but 5600, or looking for a bounce at 5500, I think it was, at this region here. So bear those in mind as we look at the order flow.